Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to yet another episode of the GC Informer. Snowy tried blocking me out, but here I am. Gonna have to try harder next time, pal. Anyways, as always, we have some pretty interesting news to get into, so let's get right into it. Now, we know that Yakuza Kiwami 2 has been announced after it was leaked, but Sega also has another kind of Yakuza related announcement up its sleeve. Basically, the team that makes the Yakuza games, they're making a game based on Fist of the North Star, which is basically a hyper-violent anime IP, and it takes place in a Mad Max style wasteland. Unfortunately for us over here, it looks like that game is only going to be released in Japan, but there's still a lot of details to be worked out, so maybe that could change. Either way, it's a pretty cool way for the team to delve into something new. In the latest in the Team Fortress 2 video ripoffs that Blizzard does with Overwatch, now I say ripoffs, but not necessarily in a bad way because these videos are wonderful, Mei now has an intro video, and it's sad as shit. Basically, the short reveals that Mei and her research team had to freeze themselves for an extended period of time because they were short on resources. Basically, she wakes up and she's the last one left. It's sad, but it's a very good short. I'm not going to spoil the rest of it for you, but if you haven't seen it already, be sure to go check it out, especially if you're an Overwatch fan. Now, this is only a report, but we have every reason to believe that it's true. Supposedly, Microsoft is no longer selling the original Xbox One. Now, this would make a lot of sense since they've had the Xbox One S for such a while now, and that's been doing well, and then obviously the Xbox One X that was just announced. There's really no reason for anyone to be picking up the original Xbox One. Apparently, Microsoft's UK online store lists the console as sold out, while the US store only lists them as refurbished. Of course, as we already know, Microsoft stopped manufacturing the original Xbox One months ago, so this is probably just them running out of that stock. Keeping on this Xbox One X news, in what is very surprising, the Xbox One X has completely sold out of its pre-orders in less than a day, setting a new record for the company in the highest amount of Xboxes ever pre-ordered in the first 5 days they were available. The speed at which we sold through our initial pre-order supplies surpassed expectations and what we experienced with pre-orders for the original Xbox One console. This is a quote from the GameStop Senior Vice President of Merchandising, Bob Puzon. Of course, this is to be taken with a grain of salt because we don't know entirely how many Xbox One X's were actually available. They are not releasing those numbers for some reason. Regardless, this is a nice win for Microsoft, especially in a time where we all thought the Xbox One X was kind of a joke and not going to do very well. Maybe we'll be proven wrong. And what is sort of sad news for myself, as Dishonored is one of my favorite series of all time, it's entirely possible that we will not be getting another game after this upcoming expansion in September. The expansion Death of the Outsider is going to be the end of the Emily Kaldwin era, so if there were to be a third game, it would feature entirely new characters, which is cool, don't get me wrong. Arcane Studios creative director Harvey Smith had this to say when asked if there would be any more games in the series. I don't know yet. I kind of hope there are more Dishonored games, but I honestly don't know. And as we know, Dishonored 2 did not sell very well, so it's entirely possible that there just won't be another game. And this is kind of a shame because the game is wonderful. It reviewed very, very well, aside from having some issues on the PC at first. It just came out at a weird time when there were a lot of other games to be played. Death of the Outsider comes out on September 15th. And last but not least, in some other related news to franchises possibly dying, EA Executive Vice President Patrick Soderlund thinks that Mass Effect Andromeda, despite it being really bad, will have a sequel and more games in the franchise alongside that. In fact, he even comes out and says, "I usually don't do this, but this is one of those places where I feel like the game got criticized a little bit more than it deserved." This is in an interview with Game Reactor. "I think the game is actually a great game. Yes, we have to acknowledge the fact that there were some things that maybe we could have done better, absolutely. But as a whole, if you go in and you buy the game today with everything that's in it today, I believe that it's a game worth buying personally." While he did say there's a very high chance of the series continuing, he does say that they need to be careful and make sure that it only brings back Mass Effect in a fresh and exciting place. We'll have to see on that one. You know, I personally love the original trilogy, as do a lot of people, and maybe we were a bit too harsh on Andromeda because we had a lot of hype for it, but really that just says how much the original trilogy affected us. Regardless, even with that in mind, I know I don't like the game very much, and I know I'm not the only one. So hopefully that sort of stuff gets remedied when the next game comes out, even though that probably won't be for another 5 to 7 years. Anyways, folks, that's about it for today's episode of the GC Informer. As always, leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. I love seeing what you guys have to say on these news stories. Don't forget to be checking out the other GameCast content we have here on the channel. And also don't forget, we have a Discord that you guys can join in the description box down below, where you can talk with all of us as well as other community members. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time.